Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aliah Nordin. Today, I would like to present about my FYP Project 1 titled Study on MSW-derived activated carbon for leachate treatment. First of all, what is MSW? MSW stands for Municipal Solid Waste. It consists of waste, recycled and recyclable product, and the municipal is responsible for its disposal. Every day, millions of solid waste were disposed at a different landfill site. The major source of the waste are domestic waste, agriculture waste, and commercial waste. These wastes come from the household, school, factories, and numerous other agriculture practice. Based on this figure, it shows that food and organic waste have the highest percentage of 45%, followed by the plastic, which is 13%, and 12% from the diapers. The others waste composition like glass, textile, and metal waste contribute 16% of the total MSW. Food and organic have the highest percentage due to the high consumption of edible products such as dairy food, processed food, and unprocessed food. Malaysia, like other developing nations, has had a serious problem with the MSW and its management due to the increased population growth and economic growth. So this graph shows that the relationship between the population growth with the solid waste generation. As the population increase throughout the year, the waste generation will also increase. So the most common method for the waste management in Malaysia tend to be the process of landfill. All the solid waste will dump into the site, but the number of the waste generation keep increasing, which lead to the insufficient disposition of waste at the landfill site. So, to reduce this dependency on the landfill method, the government has considered an alternative way of solid waste management, such as program of 3R program, which is reduce, recycle, and reuse. This approach is promoted as it benefit from the fact no expenses and less energy are required. It take a long time and space to manage this activity. Besides, incineration process also been introduced. Incineration process is not a new technology in Malaysia. It was developed to remove the waste since there are limitations in space for landfill and immature recycled practice. Since the incineration technology has been implemented in the certain island, namely Pulau Langkawi, Pulau Pangkor, Pulau Tioman, and Pulau Labuan. This process requires a very high energy to generate the elevated temperature and very high cost to build up the station and for the maintenance cost. So the problem is the amount of daily of waste produced in Malaysia has reached about 30,000 tonnes. Out of this amount, around 70 was estimated to be collected, and almost 95% of the waste are disposed in the landfill, and only 5% of the waste are being used. So, the increase in the number of waste generated lead to the insufficient of the landfill site. Landfill site is most preferred method due to the cheapest cost, simplicity of the service, and less equipment. The dumping of the municipal solid waste in the landfill will produce the landfill leachate. Landfill leachate is a combination of a soluble organic and inorganic compound contain different components and a significant amount of heavy metal and mineral salt. They are normally black in color. And the factor that contribute to this leachate, such as variation in weather, each type of waste. So Malaysia has a hot, humid, and rainy tropical climate weather. So it gives impact to the waste generation that to produce the leachate. So the landfill leachate damage the environment severely by polluting the soil and water resource. So the technique are required to remove this contaminant from the water source. So the activated carbon is considered to be one of the most effective absorbent process and prepared to have the high porosity and very large absorbent surface. So beside, it can be used in the wastewater treatment, drinking water purification, and liquid phase absorption. This activated carbon has extensive internal pore structure that make it ideal for the absorption of the molecular species. But the high cost of production and the costly precursor material used are restricting the factor for the use of the activated carbon in the leachate treatment. However, there are important to consider. Therefore, it's important to consider an alternative way to replace this expensive activated carbon by conversion of the locally available solid waste. So the MSW are used to convert into the activated carbon. Then activated carbon prepared from this precursor is ideal for the removal impurity such as heavy metal from the wastewater and leachate. This figure show the process of the MSW. The waste will go through a few stages. First, the waste MSW are being collected, and the leachate, this waste leachate, will be collected here and undergo the hydrothermal leachate treatment and produce a clean water. The MSW undergo carbonization and become compact and to produce biochar and also syngas. The syngas contain carbon monoxide and hydrogen. We divide it into two for the boiler and the product purification. Boiler contain steam, H2O, and carbon dioxide to generate power, where the product purification contain volatile matter for the fuel. So in this project, we want to use the MSW based char and activate using the carbon dioxide gas from this boiler to form activated carbon. So this activated carbon will treat the hydrothermal leachate treatment by removing the remaining heavy metal to produce the clean water. So the objective for this project is to evaluate the effect of the physical activation on the pores and characterization of the MSW-derived activated carbon. It also want to determine the properties of the MSW-derived activated carbon for the leachate treatment. So, design of the experiment for this project. First, we collect the raw MSW, crush and shred, and then we characterize the raw MSW to know the carbon content, the composition of the MSW, and then we dry for 24 hours at 105 degree, and then we compact the dry MSW and undergo the pyrolysis process to produce biochar. So this biochar will be activated through the physical activation process with carbon dioxide gas as activation agent. And then the activated carbon will be characterized using the carbon analyzer BET and SEM to know the porosity and carbon content in the activated carbon, and then this carbon can be used for the leachate treatment. So, summary for this literature review is, it can be found that the BET surface area and total pores volume decrease when the carbonization temperature increase. The activated carbon that undergo the chemical activation has better absorption due to the development of composition of function group and porosity as reported in the previous study. Basically, the higher carbonization temperature will lower the yield production of activated carbon. In terms of the activated carbon composition, increase of the carbonization temperature will decrease the moisture and volatile matter content that will further increase the ash and fixed carbon content. Besides, from the LR, we can identify the absorption capacity in removing the heavy metals such as Pb2 plus ion, zinc 2 plus ion, and copper 2 plus ion. So, from this, we can determine the suitable porosity size for the activated carbon. For this project, the carbon precursor be used is the MSW. This MSW will undergo physical activation and with the carbon dioxide gas as an activation agent. This process will undergo at various temperature, which is 700, 800, and 900 for 1 hour at a heating rate of 10 degrees Celsius per minute. So we expect from this project to obtain the activated carbon with high percent yield, to obtain the high pore structure of the activated carbon that produce high surface area and large pore volume, and expect to remove the heavy metal composition for the leachate. So in the conclusion, the effect of percent yield of the activated carbon due to the production of carbon at low temperature will give a higher yield percentage. To obtain the higher surface area and large pore volume, the process must maintain a low heating rate, which is 10 degrees Celsius per minute. And the shorter residence time of the process are needed to prevent the decrease of carbon yield due to the gasification of the carbon particle. Besides, the pore structure of the MSW activated carbon for leachate treatment can be determined through the result of the absorption capacity in removing heavy metal in the literature review. Thus, the MSW-derived activated carbon can help to reduce the environmental impact, and also this activated carbon formed from the MSW biochar will be used to treat the hydrothermal leachate. That's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.